ladies and gentlemen. Shri Amitabh Kumar Jain is the Chief General Manager, Product Development and OEM Business. He's going to join us online, and it is now time that we welcome him with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And it's over to Shri Amitabh Kumar Jain.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thanks
we can hear you and see you all right.
Thanks for the introduction. I basically belong to National Oil Company Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited, which is the #2 oil company in India. And before we come to the topic, I would just like to tell you something about Hindustan Petroleum. Hindustan Petroleum basically was nationalized from Esso and Caltex in 1974 by the then Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi, and we have completed almost a journey of 36 years now as Hindustan Petroleum, and we enjoy the status of Maharatna, which has been given by the Government of India, and we can decide our own projects up to 500 crore rupees. And you can very well imagine that 80 rupees is $1. We are meeting today 18% of the petroleum product requirements of the country. We own more than 20,000 plus fuel stations. We are one of the largest lube marketing company. We enjoyed the largest lube marketing company till last year. And this year we slipped to position 2. We are second largest LPG marketeer. We operate the largest lube refinery in India, and we have the second largest cross-country pipeline network in India. We are having 11 verticals. We have some blocks for exploration. We are refining 17.8 million metric tons per annum of crude, whereas we are marketing 39.14 million metric tons of finished products. So we are basically a marketing company which sells almost double the volume what we produce. We have 3,785 kilometers of pipeline transporting all across India, and we have 19 JVs and subsidiaries. Coming to the presentation, if we look at the world lube market, these are the estimates which we have internally made basis some of the other reports and markets we have observed. This world market is estimated as per our estimates at 36.4 million metric tons per annum, whereas India stands third with 7% sales at 2.8154 million metric tons. This is one country which is still growing at 1.4%, whereas others have almost gone into negative growth. When we talk about Hindustan Petroleum, we are at number 18 in 19 lubricant manufacturers. Ahead of us is Indian Oil Corporation from last year onwards in India. Most lubricants, as you know, require base oils, and base oils constitute about 75 to 85% as far as automotive engine oils are concerned, and they constitute more than 98% as far as industrial oils are concerned. So when base oil is such an important moiety as far as lubricants are concerned, we produce about 1150 TMT of base oil indigenously from the crudes which are imported from elsewhere. Out of the 2.8 million metric ton demands, we produce about 1.15 TMT of a million metric tons of base oil from our own refineries, which are owned by Hindustan Petroleum, Bharat Petroleum, and Indian Oil Corporation. None of the private players as of now produce base oils. If we look at the base oil capacities, Indian Oil produces around 460 TMT of base oil, of which CPCL produces 220 and Haldia produces 240. CPCL produces 220 metric TMT of Group 1 and Haldia produces 240 TMT of Group 2 base oil. When it comes to BPCL, they produce only Group 2, 240 TMT. HPCL produces Group 1, and HPCL is the only producer of bright stock right now. They produce 320 TMT of Group 1 and 150 TMT of Group 2. When it comes to imports of base oil into India, we have a total market of lubricants at 2.8 million tons. But if you look at the imports into India last year, we have imported 4.7 million metric tons of base oil into India. These are the ports where the base oil has been imported: Mumbai, Nhava Sheva, Hazira in Gujarat, Chennai down south, and Kolkata, the easternmost part of the country. And these are some of the percentages at which the import has been made. We have imported all sorts of base stocks: Group 1, Group 2, 150, 500, 300, 110. There is an import of 217 TMT of Group 3 also. But the biggest constituent of base oil which has been imported is SN60, 70, TOBS, and others. When we look at the base oil categories, they are divided into 5 groups by API. This is the sulfur, saturates, and viscosity index. Polyalpha olefins are basically the fully synthetic, and the base oils which are not included in Group 1 to 4 are known as Group 5 base oils. Group 3 has gained importance clearly in very coming one decade because of the increasing demand in efficiency, need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, higher fuel economy, energy efficiency. Energy efficiency in India is not limited only to the automobiles. They are getting implemented into the off-highway equipment, off-highway machines, the earth movers and all. More severe operating conditions, longer drain intervals, systems are running hotter. They are becoming smaller, but still people are looking at longer drain intervals. So what we require is the higher performing base stocks. But when you look at our capacities and capabilities, we are producing either Group 1 or Group 2, mostly in India. So these are the demands which were expected from the base oil, and particularly today, OEM requirements, evolving, changing, always changing performances, new vehicles coming into India, new technologies coming into India. Government of India going into BS6, which has been implemented from April 2021, and now going to be OBD2 type of from April 23, where even the CAGR, the fuel economy norms, may come into the system. So what was required was a capacity for Group 2 and Group 3 to meet the demand, which has been done by the expansion plans which are there as far as HPCL, BPCL, and IOCL are concerned. And we are going to achieve self-sufficiency as per the today's volumes of 2.8 million metric tons. CPCL is expanding, and they are going to produce Group 2 and Group 3 to the tune of 200 TMT, Haldia to the tune of 240. Panipat, which was a fuel refinery, will be producing 540 TMT of Group 2 and Group 3 base oil. Koyali, again a fuel refinery, will be producing 240 TMT of Group 2 and 3 base oils. BPCL is adding to the capacity of Group 2 and Group 3 by 210 TMT. And HPCL is planning to add another 230 TMT of Group 2 and Group 3 base oil. This capacity will be self-sufficient. And you must be wondering how we are meeting today's requirement, because some of these refineries of BPCL and IOCL, they have upgraded themselves from pure Group 2 to Group 2 plus. So a lot of decrease in the consumption of Group 3 has happened. Just to give you an example, to give you this thing, that the change in Group 2 and Group 2 plus has come mainly from saturates, NOAC volatility, and pour points. So this has basically given us an advantage of volatility, pour point or low temperature properties. So that has helped us in reducing the quantities of group 3, which may be required for 5W30 or 0W20 type of formulations. One such example of the formulation is what we were using at 30% of group 3 base oil. We have been able to bring it down to 10% by using a group 2 plus type of base oils. We are able to meet all other properties. Product became licensable last year with very less quantity of group 3 base oils. But sooner we will have plenty of group 3 base oil coming with a lot of group 2 plus, which will not only meet the requirement of our engine oil requirements, but it will meet our requirement of industrial oils also, the long drains and the energy efficient. Some of the changes which have occurred in the industrial oils, particularly gears and hydraulics, the cleanliness of the equipment has been increasing with changing from group 1 to group 2 to group 2 plus to group 3. But currently we are at group 2 plus. So we have been able to extend the drain intervals of our hydraulic systems, particularly earth moving from 2000 to 4000 hours. And there is now a move for going from 4,000 to 5,000 hours also. If we look at Indian market segments, we have industrial requirement of 27% of the total lubricant requirements. Automotive is at 45%, and the process oils with tire manufacturing, hair oils, polythene and all those things to the tune of 28%. In automotive segment, the replacement market is 38% and factory fill is 7%. Fuel stations, they sell hardly 2% of the market. Authorized OEM workshops sell 8% of the lubricant of that 45, and retail, the bazaar, what we call as the bazaar, they sell about 28% of the market sales. So as far as breakup in India is concerned, the oil major companies, what we call as the public sector oil companies or nationalized oil companies, they sell about 45% of the total lubes in India. Total sells about 5%, Valvoline 5%, Castrol, Gulf and Shell, they sell about 6 to 12%, and others, Exxon Mobil and all, they sell about 17%. It will be worthwhile mentioning here that India has more than 400 players which are selling into the bazaar, which are selling into the market, various type of lubricants. As far as transport segment is concerned, trucks and buses consume about 32% of the total lubricant. Two and three wheeler consume about 15%. We have a large population of 2 and 3 wheelers in India. Passenger car contributes about 22%. Railroad, which is a declining this thing because of the electrification, consumes about 7%. Agriculture, which is ever growing at the rate of almost 5%, is consuming currently at 6%. When it comes to the motorcycle oil, which is a big chunk of market as far as India is concerned, HPCL is the leader with 45 TMT of sale, which is about 17% of the volume. When it comes to consumer and commercial automotive like trucks and buses, IOC is the leader with 242 TMT of the volume, with commercial selling at 179 and PCMOs, the motor car engine oil, selling at 185 TMT. When it comes to lube and in transport segment, we have segmentation. The Indian government has banned low tier performance oils long back. So we have all multi-grades mostly, starting from CF4 for consumer segment, or the transport segment starting from CF4, which contributes to about 19% of the volume. And CK4, which has picked up from last year onwards, has contributed about 2% of the volume in India. In transport segment, it has been 15W40 which was dominating. Majority of the products were having EGR. Some of the vehicles were using SCR in BS4. So we have a big market of DEF, diesel exhaust fuel. And as from 2021 onwards, the use of DPF and SCR has grown. The oils are being shifted from CK4 plus OEM, 15W40 to 10W30 mostly. The viscometrics, which is becoming predominant as far as transport segment is concerned, will be 10W30 in near future. In PCMO, again, a category below SF is banned. We have SF, and for PCDOs, we are selling CI4, CH4 and CI4 plus. India again uses a lot of diesel cars. So volume of these oils, diesel engine oils for PCDOs is pretty high. We sell a lot of API SG, SJ and SL. API SM and SN are basically combined with ASIA A3, B4 for pre-BS6 vehicles. But for BS6, it is mostly combined with SN Plus and ASIA C2. Similarly, for future PCMO, the trend is expected to be 0W20 or 0W16 with 5W30 ASIA C2 and C5. Flex fuel vehicles, they are on the anvil because there is a pressure to reduce the import bill. So we have now achieved a 10% mixing in ethanol, and the next target is 20% ethanol into MS. So it is expected that in another 9 to 10 months, we will be having flex fuel vehicles capable of burning E10, E20 and up to E85. National specifications are in place for flex fuels, E10, E20 and E85. Similarly, there is a lot of natural gas fueled vehicles which are coming in, which is being supported today by biogas also. A lot of local players have come in to support the biogas program, where the biogas is generated and compressed and sold into the market. A lot of three-wheelers in villages, they have started fueling on compressed biogas and are being run successfully. Hydrogen engines, trials are still on, fuel cells still on. Electric, almost 2% of the vehicles have converted to electric, and the growth rate is pretty higher as far as two-wheelers are concerned. Municipal corporations or municipal transport is very fast in converting from diesel or CNG to electric. For MCO product category, we have API TC, API SG, API F. They are all coupled with JASO MA, JASO MA2 or JASO MB. For scooters, it is all JASO MB, API SG onwards. And for motorcycles, since they are wet clutch, 110cc maximum, more in population compared to the higher end motorcycles of 150cc or more, they are having JASO MA2 or JASO MA along coupled with API SL or SJ. Now with the E20 coming into the market, there is a move towards API SN category for the people who are currently at API SJ or SL level. When we come to industrial lubricant demand, as far as India is concerned, the biggest consumer sector today is 885 TMT is the process oil, which includes tire industry. Then the second is the industrial engines, what we call as the power gens, hydraulic, metalworking, turbine. We have a lot of thermal power stations. 885 can be further broken down into transformer oil at 379 TMT, white oil at 283 TMT, and rubber process oils at 223 TMT, which is being sold. Transformer oil is further divided into naphthenic and paraffinic. Paraffinic transformer oil needs are generally met through the base oil indigenously produced, but all the naphthenic base oil is as of now imported. Hydraulic oils, the systems are becoming smaller. there is a reduced cycle time, higher temperature, and as I told you earlier, we are going for increasing the drain interval from 2000 to 4000 and now to 5000 hours. So some of the manufacturers who have already increased the drain interval are Komatsu, Hitachi, Caterpillar, Volvo, JCB, and they are now, the others who are at 3000 or 4000 are now aiming at going to 5000 hours. We have 42% of the hydraulic oil going into the mobile equipment and stationary is 48%. There is a big chunk of market as far as hydraulic oil is concerned, which is scattered by monograde type of ISO VG68 type of hydraulic fluid. Otherwise, it is HVI 46 as far as the mobile equipment is concerned. Similarly, for the industrial gear oils, the trends are more towards meeting the fender requirement. Now Hansen, because most of the gearboxes which were earlier older are being replaced with the new gearboxes. And those gearboxes, they are basically running at much higher temperature, problem of micro pitting. So Flender approved gear oils are gaining more and more attention as far as India is concerned. There is a move towards synthetic also in gearbox oils for longer life where the temperatures are much higher. So a lot of PAO based, lot of acrylate based, lot of ester based gear oils are coming into the market, which are occupying a major chunk as far as steel plants or coal mines are concerned. Metalworking, we have a market of metal treating at 16%, protection, the rust preventives at 20%, forming at 29% and removal at 60%. This removal includes the metalworking as far as water miscible fluids also are concerned. We have a lot of water miscible fluids. We have a lot of straight fluids for metal removal. When it comes to India in grease sales, 73% of the Indian market is still with lithium greases, but slowly people are experimenting with calcium complex greases, calcium sulfonate complex greases, and aluminum complex greases. Polyurea greases still are being utilized in very small quantities, particularly for electric vehicles. There is titanium complex also. There is lithium complex in a big quantity, which is being used by steel mills who are trying to move away to calcium sulfonate complex greases. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for hearing about Indian market and Indian base oil scenario. Thank you.